died in the making of the movie.
Don't piss off Wyatt.
Masterpiece, but underdeveloped.
Stressful.
It's kind of a train wreck.
Really fun, really good.
It's fun. Enlightening.
Wild. Just wild, just wild.
And I stumble to the kitchen, pour myself a cup of ambition and yawn and stretch and try to come to life. Jump in the shower and the blood starts pumping. Out on the streets the traffic starts jumping with folks like me on the job from 9 to 5. Working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living. Barely getting by, it's all taking and no giving. They just use your mind. Want to move ahead, but the boss won't seem to let me. I swear sometimes that man is out to get me.
Okay, you get ready? Now I'll count you guys. I'll count you guys in. 1, 2, 3,
4. Yeah.
Ready?
3, 2, 1.
Hey Abby, why are you here?
That's it. Wow, that is on.
Hi. Welcome. Is this a job interview?
Oh wait, do I need to? How long can they hold it? Let's try it again. All right, 3, 2, 1. So as the name implies, I made a movie and it failed spectacularly. I remember one day when we didn't have an adult supervision, I remember saying, okay, that's fine, we'll figure out another time to schedule it. I remember leaving the room, going to the lunchroom and telling people like, today's shoot's off for today, we'll figure another time. I remember just I went to a bathroom, a more secluded bathroom, and I remember just wanting nothing more just to cry. The only reason I went to the I got a library pass, I went to the bathroom and picked out a stall and was fully prepared just to sob. But there were other people in the bathroom, they started talking about how their poop was like an atom bomb, so I kind of just lost.
Are you vlogging?
Kyle, we are in the middle of an intro.
Kyle, how many is that today?
It's the first of the day, Abby, but it's the last one for a while.
Really?
Yeah. Is that good?
Yeah, let's do it one more time. So it started in the woods. We're in the woods. Stop. Kyle would do this thing where he pretended to be Bigfoot, so he'd like hide behind a tree and do like the. I kind of wanted to make like a Bigfoot mockumentary where Kyle was Bigfoot. And at the same time as I had that idea, I was in a video class for my first semester. Everyone was there for the third project was doing something short. ironically enough. And I knew that the project that I wanted to work on, this Bigfoot mockumentary, was gonna be a little bit longer. Boy, was I right. Eventually I pitched it, and I pitched it as this like 12-minute long mockumentary of Kyle being Bigfoot, and that was kind of it. And so Kyle was on board, I was on board, that was a really funny idea. The 12-minute idea, and therefore 12-page idea, started to become 29 pages, then 36 pages, then 43 pages, and 58 pages, then eventually around, by the end of this whole endeavor, this whole project was probably around like 62 or 64 pages, 64 minutes, all things considered. So it became incredibly long. You know, I told my teacher, like, yeah, the script might be like 36 pages, but you know what? I'm perfectly fine with this going up into a ball of flames and being a train wreck. And it was.
We're about to go in the tunnels, so if I get lost in the tunnels and I die, and I join the ghost of that other kid who apparently died in the tunnels years ago, tell Bernie Sanders that I love him. You can give all of my money to Raul, the
Raul?
burger guy, the fry cook, the burger fry cook.
Cook where?
At Nicolay.
Oh, okay.
You know Raul?
No, I don't know Raul.
He makes the burgers. I love that man.
Which Pepsi do you drink a day?
3 to 4 cans.
What would happen if you were to stop drinking Pepsi for like a day?
Well, I don't want to try that. Offer you these jewels to reveal yourself. We want to make contact.
Right now there's a classroom above you that's really good. Alright guys, no going
Kyle.
into the tunnels.
Tunnel man, we are not here to hurt you.
Yes, it is.
We come in peace. We feel your presence.
Hey, Alan, what did I just tell you? You gotta return the bike where you
And we never saw him again.
Feel yourself, tunnel man.
No more tunnel access. No more tunnel. No,
I'm this close to making
no more
contact.
tunnel access.
This is ridiculous. Tunnel man.
I hope you're not. Now it's gonna haunt our spirit, our dreams.
Ridiculous. Did you see this? I hope you get this. Mr. Man. We're gonna come back in a few days. We're gonna see if Tunnel Man exists. We put the jewels there. I think that if we really find Tunnel Man, that would change everything. Why won't you let us find Tunnel Man?
Should have known better.
Are you in cahoots with the Tunnel Man?
No.
Are you conspiring against us?
I'm not conspiring.
It's out there. Mr. Medved is conspiring against us to keep Tunnel Man secret. I think he has something to do with his disappearance. Do you have anything to do with the disappearance of Tunnel Man?
Neither confirm nor deny the existence of.
He did not.
I don't know if he had anything to do with Tunnel Man, but what I do know is that the next day, Kyle went missing. And I mean, the basis of this movie is that Kyle goes into the woods, lured by some ancient ghosts, and becomes a forest monster, essentially. And it's up to me and a video production crew from class to go and rescue him. So the first 3 weeks or so were just the writing and planning stages. So I assembled a cast and I assembled a crew, me, because I was kind of doing everything.
The director wasn't very good at holding everything together. There was a couple times where this isn't entirely the director's fault, but he got overworked, he put too much pressure on himself, or he couldn't handle the situation he was placed in with his crew. He ended up not fulfilling the needs that a director has to fulfill.
So why did it fail? I think the biggest reason is that it was just too much. My strengths and one of my biggest weaknesses is that I'm just too ambitious, and shooting a 60-page script is hard enough, but we really only had like a month or so to film it. And even that, like realistically, all things considered, is more like 36 hours, because we did have like 40 minutes to hour and a half after school some days, and then we had like 1 or 2 days fully dedicated to it outside of school on the weekend. But mainly we're just filming during like resource period, which is a 30-minute time period. The problem with that becomes that, first off, we need some time to warm up, to get set up, and that usually takes like 10-15 minutes. So by the time we get shooting, we only have like 10 minutes or so, 10-20 minutes. And that's meant to do that every single day. It becomes really hard to get into a flow.
There was a lot of uncooperation, is that a word? People weren't cooperating with each other. The director, you got frustrated a lot.
Bye, Parker.
Brief recap. We've been trying to film the scene in the hallway. I mean, empty hallway. We've been doing it for the last 20 minutes. But people keep walking through the hallway. I mean, no offense to the janitors. They love to talk in the hallway. As Down there. How did Kubrick do it? For me personally, I would say one of my biggest problems was managing and scheduling it, because I'd never done anything this expansive, because not only do you have all these actors with different schedules with robotics and sports and theater, all these different locations. You gotta figure out a way to best shoot it so you're maximizing the time you have and the spaces you're using. So I tried many different ways of scheduling it, spreadsheets, writing it out, Gantt charts, and I just could never visualize it. So I made a physical spreadsheet, which is this. So I've broken it up down to location. So you'll see detention, tunnels, page numbers in which those locations are, or the pages I should say. And for these I broke it down to day and night. You got even more locations down there. Took much longer than it should have and wasted a lot of time that we could have been using filming. And for me, I think I just became so overwhelmed.
During the casting, Whitehead's Abby goes right at the back, reach for my spooky Abby because it's your mom and it's the last thing she gave you and she's dead. Abby hugs Wyatt, then we see them in medium shot of Mitchell cafe scene. Then Mitchell prints out a piece of paper with the headline "Miracle at Nicolay High School. 3 students return home, tilt down."
My God, he's gonna do it.
Who was watching the group in the back really excited. Trying to look at all of them after the second encounter in the woods, sitting together. Ryan is Anderson and Kyle doing cutscene and looks at Lane is resting on Mitchell's shoulder. Mitchell's writing something in a notepad.
I had all the hats on. I was the one producing it, I was the one shooting it, which was hard enough when I'm in a scene, so I have to have someone stand in, then I have to cross-reference the shot and then making it, and so it's just a bunch of, it was a clusterfuck. So I had to direct it, I had to write it, I had to edit it, and I had to act in it at the same time. So I had to not only direct other people, but I had to direct myself. And it becomes hard when things aren't turning out the way you want it to be. Like, the shot doesn't look like how you envisioned it in your head because you don't have enough time to actually do it. The way you thought you could act it, you can't act it that way. Maybe you're not as good as an actor as you think you are. And you see other people who maybe haven't acted before or haven't acted, like, don't act, that's not their thing. And you know that the personality matches the character, but you can't really get the performance you want out of them. So it becomes, I'm not a good enough director, I don't know how to pull it out of people. Not to mention, we had to recast someone midway through the production, with the schedule being so condensed, just unrealistic. You know, if we missed one day, it was kind of like, it felt like the end of the world, because we had to move stuff around, it just didn't work out to meet the deadline. Eventually we had to even push the deadline back, and it still wasn't enough.
Baking pancakes, making bacon pancakes. Take some bacon and I'll put it in a pancake. Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna make. Bacon pancakes. Baking pancakes, making bacon pancakes. Take some bacon and I'll put it in a pancake. Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna make. Bacon pancakes. Bacon pancakes, making bacon pancakes. Take some bacon and I'll put it in a pancake. Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna make. Bacon pancakes. Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna make. Bacon pancakes.
We had this one day after school that we were shooting in a space, and we had about a 40-minute delay because people had a conflict that I was not aware of. So we had to wait there for 40 minutes, we made some pancakes. Once people got there and we started shooting, I just didn't know what to do. I couldn't figure out how to shoot it, I didn't know where people should go, and I isolated myself from everybody else. I tried to think over it, and I just came out blank. I had nothing to grab onto, and that was kind of terrifying. I kind of had like a mini panic attack, and I didn't want to have to say to them, hey look, I just wasted 2 hours of your life, sorry.
You were the only one handling everything, so no one really knew what else you were doing. Like that one time where you completely broke down and we didn't get any filming then, we couldn't progress from there because no one else knew what shot you wanted, no one else knew where the story was at that time, so we weren't able to move the production along.
I guess we'll just have to improv the rest of it because there's just no time for me to go back because I have AP Euro, I have other homework, I have sleep, I have a job, I have fear, I have responsibilities here that I don't even feel like I'm meeting at all in my home, which is a problem. And then I'm unmotivated, I'm tired, and I don't have time to do this when I have other homework I gotta take too. So either I have to miserably fail at one thing in order to get this done. And that's just kind of what it's come to. Layton, you're real sad.
Wyatt, sit down before he comes back.
Relax, it's in the cream.
I love words. Wyatt, sit down before he comes back.
Relax, it's in the cream. Oh, shit.
He comes back.
Relax, it's goddamn it.
Wyatt, sit down. Before he comes back. Sit down before he comes back.
Relax. He's in the community room taking a nap.
So now what are we looking at?
You are Layton, you son of a bitch. You guys are looking at Layton. Okay, shit.
Kyle, sit down.
Wait. You went through Kyle's Instagram feed. That's what's not up here.
I'm gonna just wait for this man.
Now he's going to rehearse.
It's funny, you're like, you just pull out like a tuba, but like, you didn't have the case anywhere.
Now what are we looking at?
Oh, hold on. I'm sorry.
I have 5 keys!
Wait.
Wait.
What?
Driving other friends into this life, driving young people into danger. Don't walk away when I'm talking to you. What do you want me to say, Parker?
Now this is a bit
I
awkward.
know, like I'm looking at
Don't walk away when I'm talking to you.
Yeah. What do you want me to say, Parker? I'm not
Our
talking.
friends are busy. I'm told how to think by you or Beetlejuice over there.
You gotta do it at the point where it's like.
We're gonna just start fighting.
Everybody wants to listen, right? Probably dead.
When I was able to find moments to just be in the moment, I had a really fun time. I loved working with the cast, and that was usually the highlight of my day when I could really get into it and forget about all other problems. Those moments are far and few between because when you're having to juggle all these hats, I have to think about, well, this character's wearing this costume in this scene, so he can't be wearing this costume in that scene. Oh, we need this prop right now because it's gonna show up later, or we don't have it. Oh, fuck. And so I just become incredibly overwhelmed.
Hi. Come on in.
So back there is the Nicolay Woods, where it all kind of culminated, and that's the shed that a lot of the story in the latter half took place in. Everything kind of culminated and disintegrated in those woods. We're gonna have one big day on the weekend where we just shot for like 9 hours after our lunch break. And I remember just thinking to myself, I took a break from everybody, I kind of went into the woods for a little bit. And I remember kind of thinking to myself, this is not what I want to do anymore. It wasn't the stress, it wasn't anxiety or anything like that, it was just, I had no passion for it. I had no excitement about this project anymore. And at that point, I just knew we were kind of done. And I remember me telling people like, this is done, it's over, it's not gonna happen. And I made the poor mistake of advertising on Instagram beforehand, even before it was finished. So there was a lot of pressure on me to make this happen. And I kept telling people like, we're gonna submit it to the Milwaukee Film Festival. People thought I gave up. And I think people know me for being really determined in doing things. And so I kind of felt that. I felt like I'd given up and like I wanted to see this through. I'm not a quitter. That's how I felt. I felt like a quitter.
I wish it was actually a movie, bro. Say, come on, what? Bro. You gotta make the movie, bro. What did I say? What did I say?
And so me and Mitchell and Parker were like, let's do this. And so we created a game plan. We created a presentation that we can present to the teachers, talking about why it went wrong, what we do to fix it, timeline. And eventually they kind of shot it down because they kind of saw that probably it's going to turn out very similar to how it turned out the first time. And I think they were right. What I came to realize is that I was just burnt out. It's not even necessarily stressed. I just feel almost overwhelmed. But I always do stuff the hard way, so might as well embrace it. So every single week and every single stepping stone, I just feel completely defeated about all of this. It was the script, it wasn't good enough, then it got revised, and then that wasn't good enough. I legitimately think I'm having some sort of existential crisis. You know, I don't even know what this fucking movie's about. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what the theme is. I don't even know. I feel like the things I've got in my head about filmmaking are just wrong. Accomplishing goals. I'm making a movie, and that's what I want to do. At least I think. I tell myself, when you're feeling beaten, it's the perfect time to win, I guess. And there's a satisfaction in like saying fuck you to fate, I suppose. What's a good word for it, or just circumstance. And the world feels like it's ending one day at a time. And when I felt burnt out and people thought I gave up, people saying, you know, like, and giving me all this praise for what I was doing, but secretly feeling like, what was terrifying was questioning, is this what I want to do with my life? Because my entire life, this is all I had. This is what I always had. And to say this thing that I always knew, maybe I don't know, was absolutely dreadful and mortifying. And this feeling of being, I was lost. I was lost.
I don't think it really failed. I just think that we needed a little bit more time for planning a little bit, just because there were a lot of last minute changes, especially with characters. But I don't think it totally failed.
It's hard to really get things moving if no one's really enthusiastic about it. But I learned that it's fun to be with your friends, but normally you're not as productive.
Honestly, I liked the whole thing. I like being like, I don't know, just it was all fun. It was like, you know, pretending that I was a part of something bigger than myself.
And while technically this was a failure, it was a failed movie because we had a goal and we didn't reach it, ultimately, I don't think it was, because I learned so much, things that would have taken me another decade to learn. You know, I learned my limits. I think I let my ego get the best of me a little bit. I learned how to better work with people, how to manage my own stress and prioritize things, how to schedule, which is incredibly important. I learned that 6 strangers are gonna work so much better than 6 friends. And the times I had with the cast, you know, I think about rehearsals or the scene in the detention room. Those were the highlights of my day. They were so much fun. Even though they had all those problems, it's all part of the story. It's all part of the story.
Kyle, what are you doing?
Protecting myself.